All right. All right. Again, good evening, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. I want to be able to cover. I want to be able to cover chapter number 19 tonight and ask, see if anyone has any contributions or questions that you may have in regards to what you've learned this week. And if there's some things that you don't understand, this would be a great time for us to go over it. Pause that real quick. And let's get it over here real quick. Come on. Don't keep turning on. Turn off. All right, here you go. Oh boy, delayed reaction. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. All right. All right. So chapter number 19 begins with this idea of them being in the third month after they have left out of the land of Mizraim, which is at least 60 days. Okay, so they've left, and if you can remember, they left on Aviv, and what day? What day did they leave? What's the number?
Was it the first day?
No, actually, they begin the month of Aviv, and he said 10 days from today, you're going to go get your lamb or your goat and your kid and bring it in your house, and then you're going to stall it for 5 days, which is the 10th until the 14th. And after you finish doing that, then I'm going to come on the 14th in the midnight and kill all the firstborn, and then you're going to leave. And so they left on the 15th. Okay. So that's the first month, the second month, and then the third month. And then it says they were, here on the third month on the 15th day. The 15th day is generally what they would call the full moon. Okay. Just like up here, when they left out, they left on the full moon. Okay. Which is interesting, or what's interesting, excuse me, is the Most High told Moshe back in chapter number 3, verse number, I think it's 10 or so. He told him that this will be the sign. Okay. This will be the sign that I sent you. Okay. And let's go look at that right quick. Let me get this here right quick. I'm going to be moving around a little fast tonight, and then we'll come back to here. So on the 15th, these dates is very important. Okay. So when we look at the promise that the Most High said, it gives us a clue about what we can look forward in the future. Because Yah deals with clocks, he deals with the time, the sun and the moon and the stars. Okay. He said, come and rescue them, and bring them out of the country that's good to them. So see my people being oppressed. He replied. Okay, here you go. Verse number 12. He says, he replied, okay, Moshe said to Elohim, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and lead the people of Israel out of Mizraim? In verse number 11. Verse number 12, he said, he replied, I will surely be with you. Your sign that I have sent you would be that when you have led the people out of Mizraim, you will worship Elohim on this mountain. Okay. And so he's telling him that the sign that I sent you, for you to know that I sent you, okay, and that this is real, is that you're going to come and worship me on this mountain, and that's Mount Sinai. That's the mountain. So he already told him what it was going to be. And so he led the children of Israel out of there. He talked to Pharaoh, as you know, and they went through those motions, but the ultimate goal, his destination, okay, this is the destination, which you and I need to understand. This is the destination, is to go to that mountain. And that mountain is in the wilderness. Okay. And that's where you and I are going to go, according to Ezekiel. Some people disagree with that. They believe that the Most High is not going to take us out to the wilderness. They think he's going to take you directly to the land, and that's not the case. Okay. He has to deal with us in a matter of the way that we've been living. So we're unclean. We have to go out to the wilderness, and we're going to have to go meet Yah. That's what you and I are going to have to do. Okay. And he says that, so they came out on that in particular day, on this in particular day, they came out of the wilderness, or to the wilderness of Sinai. Verse number 2, I'm reading from right to left. And they traveled from Rephidim, and they had come to the wilderness in Sinai, and they camped in the wilderness, and so camped there Israel before the mountain, the Hahar. Okay. Again, I think I forgot to tell you guys when I was teaching last Shabbat that we know that's the, and then this is Har, which is Har, and that's a mountain, right? Remember, I told you that it's emblematic of an altar, and that's because it's going to be hit with fire. The reason why it's called a Har, or the actual letters, they mean something. So, for example, when you look at the Hey, the first letter right here in that root, and that's a noun, of course, that means to behold, okay, or to look upon at a great sight. This next letter is the Resh, which means it is the head or the top, okay, or what you would call the summit, okay. We get this idea from the fact that that's what a head is. You go to the top of the head or the summit. So where the Most High is saying is, it's not that I just want you to go to this mountain. I need you to know that you're going to behold something. You're going to see something. You're going to look at something, and what you're going to be looking at is the top or the summit of this mountain. Okay. There's a reason why. Okay. Very easy answer. Why would the Most High want them to look at the top of the mountain? Because he is going to descend upon that mountain. Verse number 3, and Moshe went up to Elohim, the high Elohim, okay? And he called to him, Yahweh called to him from the mountain, from that top, saying, thus you shall speak to the sons or the household of Yaakov, and tell the sons of Israel, okay? This is inclusive of everybody, not just the sons of Israel, or that, okay, the whole entire household of Yaakov, okay, which includes the people who have joined themselves to the house of Yaakov. That's why he uses this term right here, okay? The sons of Israel are not inclusive of the foreigner and the stranger, okay? So even though they were there and they were present and they were in the camp, he wasn't talking to them. He was only talking, okay, listen, he's only making these promises to the sons of Israel, okay? The household of Yaakov, okay? Listen what he says, you are to say to the house, but I need you to tell, make it known to these people out of that household what I'm going to do, okay? Yah has not made this covenant with nobody else except for the sons of Israel, okay? And the people that are with them can join themselves to this covenant. That's all they can do. The covenant is not with them, but they can join with the children of Jacob, which are the sons of Israel. Verse number 4, and you have seen, Raitim the Asher the Asiti, okay? You have seen what I have done. Again, this word again, Asa, is something that we keep seeing over and over and over again. Asa means to do, okay? So you saw what I've done, okay? Not what I did, but what I've done to Egypt, and how I wa'esa, okay? I carried you, Ethkim, on the wings of eagles, okay? Okay, I've carried you on the wings of eagles. So what do you think he means by I carried you on the wings of eagles?
He put us on his back.
Thank you. Easy. Yes, he put us on his back. Check this out. The wings of these eagles, okay? This Nasharim, number 1, I brought you in a very swift way, quickly. I brought you very swiftly and quickly out from where you were, okay? I had to go in there and handle business and take care of and destroy Mitzrayim, because I've done to them, I've destroyed their armies. But I made it was quick, okay? It was swift, because that's what the eagle is one of the fastest birds that there is. But also too, there's something very special about an eagle. An eagle is very, very protective of its chicks. Okay. And when he took us out so fast, and he took us not only fast, but he also took us up highly. Okay. So what he's saying is, I've exalted you. Okay. And because eagles' nests are high, right? So I've exalted you, and I brought you out from the sphere of men. You need to understand this. I brought you out from the sphere of men. I brought you out where a man can't come and get you, because I'm with you. I'm the eagle that nobody can touch. I'm that fast. I'm that quick. I'm like a predator. Okay. I'm very protective of my babies. So, but I brought you out from the sphere where no man can touch you. That's what he's saying. That's why he mentions his eagle. Okay. Because of his characteristics and where its nest is. And so you're out of harm's way. Okay. And then he said, I brought you. Okay. Wa'avi ethkim to Eli. I brought you to myself. You're going to see this a lot in this chapter. I brought you to myself. Okay. To where I want to sit you. Right. So I'm sitting you here, and I brought you here because I'm protecting you. Number 5. Therefore, Im Shemoah. Now this is where it gets, these are the words that he speaks about this agreement that he's making with the sons of Israel. Okay. This is what you need to tell them. You need to tell them that if indeed, if they're going to Shemoah right here. Okay. Shemoah is the same word for Shema. Okay. This little part right here that says Shamoah, 3 syllables, Shemoah, it still means Shema, but it's in a different way. Okay. It means that you're always going to listen. It's called an infinitive absolute. Okay. And I'm going to show you let me slow down. The infinitive absolute adds emphasis to what I'm going to tell you. Okay. Meaning you always are going to hear. You're always going to listen. Not to me, but you're always listening. That's what he's saying. You're always listening. You have the ability. That's what it is. You always have the ability to listen. Anything that has ears to hear, hears. Okay. But then he uses the same word, but said differently in the next word over. So 85 is said twice. So let me just keep it simple. He says it's twice. He says, Shemoah tishma'u, meaning listening, you will listen. Obeying, you will obey. Because this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to always listen, and you're supposed to always obey, because you have the ability to do so. Okay. So that's why he asked if you decide to do this, because you have a choice. Okay. You will obey Tishma'u Shema Israel. What? My bakole. You're going to listen to my voice. If you decide to listen to my voice, that's number 1. Okay. Very important. If you decide number 1 is listening to my voice and obeying what I said. Okay. Does that, my voice includes my Torah, my Kukim. It doesn't matter what I said. Whatever I said, whatever comes out of my mouth, you're going to listen. Whatever you hear is what you're going to do. Okay. That's what Shema is, to listen and obey. But you have to put that action, that asah, that to do. Okay. That's your word. Asah. Okay. So you're going to have to do something. Okay. And he says, and you're going to shamartim. You are going to guard. Okay. So listening and guarding. Okay. And what are you going to guard? You're going to guard my covenant. That's why this eth is pointing directly to that covenant. My buriti. That's what you're going to guard. Okay. You don't have to listen. How many covenants did he make? He made a lot of covenants. Okay. But the covenant you and I are responsible for is the one that he's about to make with us in chapter number 20. Okay. You're not responsible for guarding the covenant with Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. He didn't call us to guard that. He didn't call us to guard whether or not he's going to produce more children. He didn't call us to guard whether or not he's going to be our Elohim. He did not tell us to guard the land, because that's what those covenants are attached to. But this in particular covenant, this is the agreement that I need you to do. Okay. So the covenant is consistent of the 10 words. Okay. That's what that covenant is. What is included of everything else that I say. I use the 10 words as a framework. It's just my framework. Okay, so I'll tell you about who I am. I'm Anoki Yahweh Eloheka, who had Hotzitika de Me'adres de Misraim. I'm the one who brought you out from the land of Misraim. I'll tell you don't make any images. I'll tell you not to worship any other gods. I'll tell you to keep the Shabbat. I'll tell you to honor your father and your mother. I'll tell you not to steal. I'll tell you not to kill. I'll tell you not to commit adultery. I'll tell you all those things. I'm going to speak that in my covenant. But then, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to expound on that through everything else I say in my words out of my voice. I'm going to tell you what happens to a person that does violate my covenant. I'm going to tell you what I mean by not making a God. I'm going to give you the details. So I'm giving you the framework with the 10 words. Okay. They call them the commandments. They're not commands. They're the framework of the covenant. Okay. So people ask, well, how can I keep all the commandments? There's 613. Can I keep them all? Yah told us that if you Shemoah Tishma'u, you, all of you, are to listen. Listening, you shall listen to my voice, and you shall guard my covenant. That's your job. So I don't care how many words I said. It could be 1,000. What are you going to do? Are you going to listen to it? Are you going to obey it? Are you going to guard what I said? Are you going to guard the commandments? Are you going to guard the covenant? Are you going to guard the 10 words? Do you put your guard down because somebody came up and told you that it's done away with? This is an agreement. Then he says, listen, verse 5, and therefore, if indeed, meaning Shemoah, giving emphasis to listening to my voice, and Ushamartem, you are to guard and protect and shield, like we learned a few days ago about this guarding is not just standing there with your hands in your pocket, is literally with a shield in your hand and a sword to fight and defend the covenant. That's what you and I are supposed to do. I don't know if you know this, but Mount Sinai has another name. Somebody tell me what it is.
Horeb.
It is Mount Korev. Okay? And Korev means a sword. Yah met them on a mountain called the sword. This is the reason why he says, like in chapter number 26 of Leviticus, I'm going to execute judgment against anybody who has broken the covenant, who's gone against the covenant. The covenant requires us to be on guard. Okay? We have to be on guard. You can't put your guard down. Okay? You say, well, where's that? You telling me that there's vengeance for the covenant? I'm absolutely telling you that. So you'll know, like, what the Most High's intentions are, what he plans on doing, what does the agreement consist of? Okay, so when you look at Leviticus chapter number 26, he tells them this. Some people say, "Oh, this is when they're first exile." Well, okay, well, you're in another exile right now. I think it's 6 and 25, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully, see, yeah, it's correct. 6 and 25. Listen what it says. I will bring a sword. I'm gonna bring a sword, okay, against you. Okay, which will execute the vengeance. The vengeance of the covenant, the Barithi. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, and then he tells about all the things they're going to do. They're going to cut off your food supply. I'm going to do all this kind of stuff to you. Okay, I'm going to get some vengeance. Now, I told you that the word sword is korev, right? So here in verse number 25. Let's go see if that's true. Let's see it. So I'm going to leave Exodus 19 and we're going to go over to Leviticus chapter number 26. And I'm moving quickly tonight. And we're going to go to verse number 25. 25, and don't be intimidated by the Hebrew language because it's just words that the Most High told us that they're just different letters. That's all. And you just don't know what those letters are. You just don't know how to say it, but you come to class, you'll be able to say it. It's not a big deal. Mount Korev is still Mount Korev. Okay. So it doesn't matter if it's in Hebrew, but you need to understand what does it mean from its Hebraic understanding, its definition. So verse number 25 tells us right here. Oh, here you go. Korev. It's a sword. Okay. And from the looks of it, it's one of the swords that was in the garden that he put there. Okay. To defend, to turn. Okay. So what I'm trying to let us know is that there is a sword that goes along with this covenant. Okay. I'm going to bring this sword on you. It's attached to the covenant. Okay. And the reason why I'm putting a shield in your hand, not putting a sword in your hand, is because you're supposed to guard. If you don't guard what I'm telling you, my words as the king of Israel and the king of the universe, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to put you to death. I have to, because you didn't guard my words. I didn't give them to you for you not to guard them. I didn't give them to you for you not to listen to them, because then you shall be. Okay. This is my intent. My intent is for you to be a segula to me, for you to be a special treasure, something is set apart from everyone else and everything else that no one else has access to. Meaning that not only are you going to be my special treasure, but you are a special possession to me. That's exclusive to me and me only. No one else can obtain you. I'm not putting you in anyone else's hands. No one can actually have access to you. You understand? They don't have access to you. And I'm going to do this from the call from all the people on the face of the earth. Because why? Because Kitali, the call of Haaretz, all the earth is mine. Why would he tell us that all the earth is his? In this context, if he says you're a special treasure to me from all the people on the face of the earth to me, and then all the earth is mine. Anyone?
Let us know that we're special. We were chosen from everyone else.
You're so special to me. Okay. Letting you know that I could have chosen anyone else. Out of all humankind, I could have chose anyone else to reveal myself to, but I didn't. I only revealed myself to you. You're the only family that I know. Okay. I'm also telling you that the whole earth is mine, because I'm letting you know that just like you're a special treasure to me, I could give all this to you. That's what I want. I want to give all of this to you. Okay. If you guard what I said, if you obey what I said. Verse number 6. And to you, plural, you guys, I'm talking to, this is what the message that he's sending down to the children of Israel. And you shall exist to me. Again, that word li is to me. Li means me, to me. Okay. Not only for me, but to me. Okay. Now, you know, it's a lamed. So, you know, there's some leadership there. Okay. Meaning a staff, you know, it's authority. And then what? The yod. And there you go. That yod is the hand. That hand means that I got my hand on you because you're my possession. You belong to me. That's what you are to me. I'm giving you a marriage proposal as a nation, and you're going to be special to me, and you're going to belong to me. These are like wedding vows, okay? And he says to me, you're going to be a kingdom, a mamlaketh of a Kohanim. That's the desire. Also in chapter number 60, I think 65 or around that in Isaiah, he says that you're going to be a kingdom to me, a Kohanim. That's what you're going to be, a nation. Okay. You're going to be a kingdom and you're going to be a nation. So all the other nations and all the other world, other places and nations in the world, they're being ruled by men. But that's not what I want for you. I want you to be ruled by me. the creator, by Lee. That's what I want, by me. That was the deal. I want you to rule. I want you to be ruled by me. I want you to be guided by me. I want you to understand that your mission is to be a kingdom of priests to me. Okay. And I want you to understand that you are a set apart people for me. So we see right there consecration. He uses this term kadosh, which they understood that as well. They knew what kadosh meant. They knew him and set apart, but they didn't understand what the process was going to be. They just knew that, okay, we're going to be set apart. Most High made it very clear. And he says, these are the hadavarim in which you are to tadaber de el, to, with a strong authority, to the sons of Israel. That's what I'm telling you. Okay. And listen what they said. I got to move a little bit faster. Whoa. And so came Moshe, and he called the Lazikne. He called the elders of the people. Okay, because the elders are going to disseminate this information to the people. And he laid, remember, he set up a structure where, you got the people over certain people. You got the heads of the families and the Rashayim. They're over the tribes and over the thousands, over the hundreds. And so everyone's doing their job and they're being able to disseminate this information. And he said, and he laid them and he set it before their eyes. The Lifneheim, okay? Well, what is it? Did he have something writing? No, he sat down and he consulted with them. Okay. So it wasn't like he just came back and just said, okay, he wants you to be a kingdom of priests and didn't explain it. He wants you to be a set apart people. You're going to be a segula. He didn't say it like we just read it. He gave details. He sat the elders down and he went over every detail and exactly what that meant. Okay. And what was it? What did he do? He put call all the hadavarim. Ha'ele, which we just said, I shared that Zawah Yahweh commanded him. That was a command from the Most High to Moshe. And he followed through. Verse number 8. And Waya'anu, and look what they said. Look what they said in verse number 8. They answered, they gave an answer, all the people, not just the elders, they all consented, all of them together. Yakda, all of them together as one unified, and they all said this, Wayamuru, Kala Shera Dabar Yahweh, meaning all that spoke in Yahweh, and it was in a PL form, and they understood it. They said, Na'aseh. Well, what do you see in that word? You see the noon, which is we, and then you see our word for the week, asa, which is do. We will do what he told us to do, meaning we will make it happen. We will shamoah, tishma'u. We will shamaru. We will shamaru. We will guard. Okay? We will be this. We will be the kingdom. We will be the priesthood. We will be that nation that's set apart. You see? And so while you're shaving, then he turned back, Moshe F the words, and he went back and brought the words, Moshe, well, what they said, the divrei, which are their words of the people, the ha'am, to El Yahweh. He brought the words after they said it. So he goes back up on the mountain. Verse number 9, he says this. Yahweh says, and Wayomer Yahweh de El Moshe. He's talking to Moshe now. He said, Hine, de Anoki ba, meaning I am coming. Okay, I am coming to you, a lake, Wa'av and the Waha'anan, meaning that I'm coming in a thick cloud. And look, they said that right here, which is Ba'avor. Ba'avor means not just that, but for the intent and the purpose. I have a purpose for why I'm coming this way. It's not just that they may hear, it's for the purpose that they may hear it. Meaning, okay, here it is. He uses third person masculine singular applied to them. He looks as the people as one person. And that person that he's looking at is Yisrael, whose name was changed from Yaakov to Yisrael. You see? So I'm bringing this information for the purpose and the intent that they, why Yishma, that the people will hear the body, they will hear when I speak, what imak, when I speak with you. Okay. And also, so that's the intention. The intent is for them to hear, the people, that I'm going to speak with you. And the other part of my intention is that they would believe in you for la'alam, forever. And what? Why your God, Moshe? Listen, I'm going to answer this in a second about why would he want them to do that. And he says, and he told Moshe, again, this is the second time that he said, he told him all the words of the people to Yahweh, the second time. After he came and told Yahweh what the people said, and Yahweh says, okay, I'm coming in a thick cloud. Then he repeats all the words of the people again, like trying to support it, like, okay, well, they did say it. They did say that they're going to do it. All the words. What's the words? Everything he said will do. Yeah, it was that, and also all the other things that they said. It's not giving us all the details, but we know that there was a conversation between the elders and the people and Moshe. They told him what it was. So the agreement, it was the terms and the conditions of the agreement. Like when a person gets married, they go to a woman that they're going to betroth, and they offer her the words, which we call a ketubah. And they offer those words to her, and they tell her exactly what the terms and the conditions are of the relationship about their marriage. So she doesn't go into it blindly. She knows exactly what the expectations are. So the children of Israel knew, okay, exactly what the terms and conditions were. Okay, and they agreed. Verse 10. And he said, Yahweh to Moshe, Lake, meaning go, command, to the people, the Ha'am, go to them and consecrate them. Wakodashtam, you go ahead and consecrate them. Now on the Yom, on today, which is on the 15th of the third month. Okay, I need you to go down on this day, the 15th, and then I need it on tomorrow, which is the 16th, and then I'm going to come to you on the third day, which is the 17th. I'm coming to you on the 17th day. Okay, well, I'm going to want them to be set apart, right? So now he's letting them know that there has to be a process of consecration, and that which has to be separate. Okay, you have to, spelled that wrong. You have to be separate. You have to be separated. Okay, and so therefore I need to separate you. Okay, and the process has to begin today, because that's when I spoke to you. It has to be tomorrow, which is the following day, and let them wash their clothes. Okay, so everything has to be set apart. Everything has to be separated. So you separate the clothes that you've been wearing on. You can't wear them clothes. You got to wash them. And if you are wearing them, they got to be washed, and they have to be prepared. Number 11, and to them, tell them to be nakonim. Okay, sounds like konim, like kohen or kohanim, but this is nakonim. And nakonim means, it's a participle meaning be ready and be prepared and be established. I need you to establish yourself to get ready for this day. The la yom da hashilishi, the day of Yahweh's coming. Okay, so what are you and I supposed to learn from this? Well, they got that word konim in there, and we know that the kaf right here is the palm of the hand. The noon right here is the seed. So what they would do is they open their palm, they put a seed in there in the palm of their hand, and they would mess around with it and try to crush it and look at it so they can examine it, right, to figure out what it is. So the Most High is letting us know, listen, I need you to go through a process of examination and be ready. Be prepared for the day that I'm coming. Okay, so he's telling this story to us and giving us signals and clues, because you and I are going to go meet Yahweh. You and I are going to have our experience, and we're going to have our encounter. Okay, and it's going to be very much like this. Okay, and he says on the third day, Yahweh will, and this is one of my favorite words. This word is used very frequently. Yared. That's your rod. Yared. That means to descend. Yahweh will descend in the eyes of all the people on that mountain of Har Sinai, which is also known as Korev. Okay. And why the eyes? Why? Somebody tell me why the the la'ane? Why are the eyes? Why has he got to do this in the sight of somebody, in their eyes?
Witness.
Yes, because you have two of them. You're a witness. You're literally an eyewitness. To what? To Yahweh coming down. And he's going to show you something about him. Okay. He's going to give us an experience. This will have an impact on you because you saw it. He's telling you and I, listen, I don't want you to believe nothing. I want you to see it with your eyes. I gave you eyes so you can see it. I don't want you to believe in no story in the New Testament where you ain't seen nothing. Made all these promises to you. You haven't seen no eternal life. Ain't nobody that died in your family got up out of the grave yet. Verse number 12. And you shall set bounds, okay? That way, Higbalta, I want you to set boundaries, okay? So again, why the boundaries? Why do I want boundaries to be set around this mountain? Okay, why? Why do I need to set a fence or a gate? Why do I need a gate or a fence? What does that mean?
To keep the people out.
To keep the people out because I need you to separate myself from you. I need you to separate yourselves from your filth. Okay, I need you to separate yourselves from the mountain. It's because I'm not human. Okay, I'm not a human being. I need you to separate. I need you to consecrate. So again, with these boundaries, you and I can see that this is an idea of separation. That's an idea of being Qadosh or Qadesh. Right here, boundaries. That's why Yah has said boundaries for us. That is indicative of being Kodesh, to be set apart. I need you to do this, and I need you to surround it. Saviv, the people need to surround all the mountain, saying, take heed, guard yourselves to you, that you do not aloth, you do not go upon the mountain, or neither do you touch it. The unagoa, you do not touch this mountain, don't go on it, and don't touch it. Okay? Or the bakatseu, its base. Whoever hanogea, whoever touches the mountain, the bahar, moth yumath. Okay? This phrase right here about moth yumath, look at it. It's an infinitive absolute. And moth means death, dying. So what is he telling us? He's telling us, and guess what? The first time that this phrase, moth yumath, is used is in Genesis. When he told them, if you, or what they would call better sheep, if you eat of this, that's when you're going to moth yumath. That's the first time that phrase is ever used. So what is he telling them? You're going to die anyway. People die. Remember I told you it's an infinitive absolute? I'm just adding emphasis. He says, like dying, you're going to die. He had to explain, like dying, you're going to die, meaning you're going to die. Okay? Infinitive means it's always going to be. Infinitively listening, infinitively walking, infinitively seeing. Okay, so death is part of your experience. But I need to emphasize what I'm telling you because I'm going to do it. Okay, on that day, if they touch it, it ain't going to be delayed. It's going to be that day. And then he says in verse number 13, lo, never thiga, don't you touch him. Who? The mountain. With your hand. And then again, he uses another infinitive absolute. So we're seeing all kind of infinitive absolutes. Saquol, yisaquol, 56:19, 56:19. I'm bringing emphasis. I'm telling you, this is exactly what's going to happen to you. He's like, you know how people get stoned? I'm going to stone you. You know how people die? You're going to die. You know how if people listen, you need to listen. You see? And why is the Most High doing this? Is he doing this because he wants to hurt people, or is he doing this because of his love? He's showing you that I'm not like you. I don't want anybody to die, because if anybody touches this mountain, they're going to be stoned, or they're going to be shot through with an arrow, whether a beast or a man. Never shall he live. No one's going to live by touching the mountain. So when you hear these people on these places or these platforms talking about, you know, Christ and everyone saw the Most High and they could come near him and so forth and so on, he's telling you right now, No one's going to live from touching the mountain, from trying to see him. I'll kill a lot of you. Okay. Then he says, he shall not live when the trumpet sounds long. Listen, when the long sound of the Hayovel, Hema, they can come up then on the mountain. I want you to come up, but you have to wait until there's a long sound of the trumpet, okay, which is the shofar. Interesting, they use the word Hayovel, okay, right here. Yovel. What does that remind you of? What does that sound like? That is the Jubilee. Remember, every 50th year, the people are set free. And they sound the trumpet or the shofar on that in particular time. Okay. So that's what a Yovel is. So he's giving you a clue to tell you something. Okay. He's telling them the moment that you hear the long sound of the trumpet, this Yovel, that means that I'm going to set you free. You're like really redeemed at that moment. Okay. That means redemption. Okay. That means you're set free. So the Most High is saying the moment that I bring this Torah to you and this covenant, once we go into this covenant together, you're literally going to be free from all the stuff that you've been attached to. I'm going to free you from that. Okay. Because they were physically made free. I think Dr. Yared and I talked about this earlier this week. There's people that are physically free, but they're not what? What part of them is not free?
The mind.
Their mind. They might physically, their bodies might be free, but their mind is not free. The children of Israel were in bondage still, because if you remember all the complaining that they were doing, we're going to die when we get to the wilderness. Would you bring us out here just to kill us? All the complaining and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff is what's in their mind. They're still slaves to idolatry in their mind. So God is trying to set them free. And he's trying to set them free by giving him his covenant. The covenant that releases them and teaches them how to live the best life ever. They can live the best life ever if you have Yah's words. So now we can see what his goal is. His goal is to set us free mentally, not only physically. We might not have chains on us right now. We might not be in shackles and being beaten, raping, all this kind of stuff, not out here, but not that it's not going on, but the Most High is concerned with all of us, including our bodies, our mind, and our soul, because everything belongs to him. And so Moshe went down from the mountain to the people and he sanctified them, all the people, and they washed their clothes. And he said to the people, be ready. Get ready. Nakonim exists to be ready. Okay. On the third, the Shalish of the Yamin. And listen, do not go near to your wives. Not because your wives are dirty, not because your wives make you unclean. Don't go to your wives, because when you have sexual intercourse with your wife, okay, what comes out of your body, Mr. Man, is called seed. And the seed is living. And then once it doesn't reach its destination, it dies. And it's on you. And it's on her. Do you see this? So Yah doesn't like death around him. He likes life. That's the reason why he said don't go near to your wives. Not because your wives are dirty, it's because what you have in your body is living material. So the Most High has designated, said, you know what? I don't want you guys to go next to your wives. Got a question. This may seem silly, but who blew the shofar? Oh, the Most High. The Most High blew that shofar. That was from the Most High. He told them when you hear it, because they heard it, and I'm about to get it here in a second and show it to you. Absolutely, they blew it. The Most High blew it, right? And there's a reason why, okay? He says, don't come near your wives. Number 16, and it came to pass on the day of the third, it existed in the morning. This is when the Most High came. He came in the morning. There were thunderings, there were lightnings, and a cloud of thick cloud on the mountain. And what? It was the lakol, okay, the wakol of the sound of the voice of the shofar. It was kazak. It was very strong, very, very strong. My old, it was very, very powerful, and trembled all the people who were in the camp. The camp was not next to the mountain. The mountain was away from the camp, and they had to walk over to meet Yahweh. Okay, so it was the opposite. So they were not near this. They had to walk, and Moshe had to bring them there. Verse number 17. And while Yotze, meaning, and he brought them, Moshe, the Et Ha'am, to meet Yahweh, the Ha Elohim, from out of the camp, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. Verse number 18, Mount Sinai was in smoke completely in the faces because Yared. Okay. Yared, Yarad. Yahweh descended upon it. Okay. In fire. Okay. So the Most High had lightning, dark smoke. They couldn't, it was a very frightening scene. Okay. The earth is shaking. The lightning is going. The thunder's roaring. Okay. There's smoke going up. The fire's descending. And the Most High comes down in the fire. He ascended in the fire. And his smoke was like the smoke of a furnace. Okay. As we went over, I think a few weeks ago, where I talked about how Ezekiel saw the vision of the Most High. And he saw this image. He said, ka-adam, not like a man. He didn't know how to describe it because that's all he knows. So he's describing what he sees and what he can make a comparison to. Not that the Most High is a man, but he knows this. The Most High is like fire. Okay. He said he was it looked like it was fire. Yahweh is not fire. Okay. Yahweh transports through fire. Every time a Malak would come, the Malak who had met with Samson's parents, he said, make an offering. They made a fire, boom. He jumps in the fire and ascends. So fire is for ascension and descension. The Most High used fire when he judged Avihu and Nadav, Aaron's sons. Most High used fire and brought fire down on the ones who wanted to be the priests, Korach and that group. The Most High used fire when he went through Eliyahu to prove that he was Elohim, and he burned up the offerings and so forth. The Most High uses fire. Okay. He has fiery chariots. The horses are fire. There's horses that are fiery, chariots that are fire, the Malachim that are fiery. Okay. The creatures that they saw, the faces were not just the face of a man, an eagle, a lion, and an ox. Those faces were made out of fire. Okay. So they were fiery faces. So what we can understand by this is that Yah's kingdom is consistent with fire. Isaiah said, I'm a man of unclean lips, and the Malach reached over and grabbed the tongue off the altar and put it on top of his mouth, on his tongue, to purify him. So the fire is indicative of absolute purity. Okay, so that's what the Most High is saying. If anybody touches this, that's why he wants them to consecrate themselves. Because if you come down here and you touch this, I'm going to kill every last one of you. Okay, and so the whole earth quaked, and the mountains were quaking, and they were doing this on their way walking to him, which you and I are going to have that experience. And when the blast of the trumpet sounded long, it became stronger. It was getting stronger and stronger. And Moshe spoke, and Elohim answered him with a voice. So now we understand that the Most High answered Moshe in front of the people. Moshe spoke to the Most High right here. Moshe spoke and Elohim answered him. Remember, Yah says, I'm going to come and I'm going to speak to you. So the people would always believe in you, because he knew what they were going to do. He knew that they were going to fail him, and he knew he was going to use Moshe to be the spokesman for the children of Israel, to lead them and guide them through the wilderness. And they needed to have he needed to boost their confidence and let them know for sure that this is the guy, this is the one. the Yah has used and chose. Verse number 20, and came down. Here's that word again. While ye read, came down Yahweh upon Har Sinai to the top, the Rosh of the Hahar, and why Yikra Yahweh Moshe at the top of the mountain, and he went up Moshe. So now we see Moshe's going up on the mountain again. Now that he called him in front of the people heard this. Moshe went up. And verse 21, and he said Yahweh to Moshe, raid, which is a command from Yared. Okay, so you see right there it says red or raid. The reason why the yod is not there, folks, is because anytime in the Hebrew language, if you say a command, it is the command is so strong, it'll drop a letter off. Okay, so here's your red. See, Yerad right here, a yod, a resh, and a dalet. Yerad. It means to go down and descend. So the Most High tells him to descend. Okay, and when he gave that command, it drops that yod that's supposed to be right here came off. Okay, so this is a command. This is an imperative, meaning right now I need you to go, and I need you to go down again. Okay, to warn. It says to warn, but it's again. Cause them to be warned again, the people, lest, because if they do come through and try to break through and see me and to look at me, why no fall me menu? I'm going to make a lot of them fall. That person is not going to be stoned to death and the animal, but I'm going to break out upon many. I'm going to kill a whole bunch of them. Rav means many, multitudes. I'm going to kill many of them. If someone tries to come and look at me, that right here, 7,200 means to see, right? If they try to come and see me, because look, infinitive, okay, it's an infinitive, meaning people always do look. See, they might get curious and try to come through. He says, if anybody tries to break through and see me, I'm going to break down and I'm going to kill many of them. Why? Because I'm set apart. I put those boundaries. Why? Because if I called you up to the mountain, all right, I want you to understand, because in chapter number 24, which we're going to see next week, they sat down and had a meal, but they sat and had a meal in a vision, not in Yah's presence like a lot of people think. They had a vision. They saw him in a vision. Okay, so he'll allow us to see him in a vision, but he said, no man can ever see me and live. Okay, verse number 22. And also, and Wagam, the Hakohanim, these guys, at this time, there was no Levitical priesthood. So who's he talking about? Who is Yah talking about? The Hakohanim, the priest. Who are the priests?
The elders.
Close. They're the firstborn of all tribes. That's who it is. They're the representatives of their family. Yah has redeemed them. Remember, when you get to the book of Numbers, the Most High says, I'm going to substitute the firstborn with the Levites. That's how they ended up becoming the priests, because the firstborns lost this right to approach Yah by making the golden calf. So he asked, who's on my side? And this family right here jumped up and said, we're with you. He said, oh, you just inherited yourself a blessing today. Okay. So Yah didn't get rid of the firstborns. He says, I'm going to substitute for every firstborn of Israel. You're going to give me a firstborn of what? You're going to give me a Leviim. That's what you're going to give me. You're going to give me a Leviim in lieu of them, because they can't approach me no more. Once we do something to Yah, he might forgive us, but he doesn't forget. He doesn't forget. It's written in the book. It's not this forgive and forget stuff. He says, when I bring you back, you guys are going to feel bad about the things you've done. You're not going to forget. I don't want you to forget. I want you to remember what you've done. You understand? And I want you to remember so you can remember how gracious and compassionate I am. I'm not trying to erase your memory like you think, like the Christians told you that it's all done and all that kind of stuff. No, he said, and the priests who come near me, which are the firstborns, because there was no Kohanim, there was no Leviim, there was Kohanim, but there weren't Leviim. They were from the firstborns of all Israel. Okay, they can come on to Yahweh. Okay, and they need to consecrate themselves. And we'll be able to prove this in our next Torah portion, which I'm going to show you that the firstborns were the priests at that time. Okay, he says, lest I will yifrots, like I'll break out, like I'll snap. That right here, the yifrots means I'm going to snap like a branch, a tree branch. You know, if you got a piece of wood and you're bending about, pow, then it snaps. That's what he's saying. I'm going to snap on them if they come out. So even though they're consecrated, because they're the firstborns to me, I'm still going to break out on them. And number 23 says, and Moshe said to Yahweh, lo, never can we able the people to come up to the La Olota or Sinai. We can't come up to the mountain. For you have warned us. You've already told us, Banu, saying, Hagaber, meaning surround the mountain with boundaries around the Hahar and Waquishdash. I need you to go ahead and consecrate. You've already told us that. We follow what you said. Verse 24. And he said, Yahweh, lake, meaning go down again. Raid, meaning again, Yared. And then come up, you and Aharon, but the priest and the people, not do you let them break through to Yahweh, lest he breaks out against them. Now, you say, well, we never hear about Aharon going up. We don't ever hear him bringing Aharon back up, okay? The reason why he didn't go up at this time, listen to me very carefully, is because they did the golden calf at that time. Before that, chapter number 24, Aharon and the elders all go up and they got that vision. So when he told him, you go down and you bring your brother up here, okay, but with the priests and the people, you don't let them come up, okay, don't let them come up, and otherwise I'm going to break out against them. And so again, verse number 25, why Yared? And he descended, he went again, Yarad, Moshe to the Ha'am, and he spoke to them. Okay. And so that's chapter number 19. Very, very powerful chapter. We're learning that is the foundation of the covenant with the Most High. We're learning, this idea about consecration and separation. We learn that the priests are the firstborns. They're not the Leviims at this moment. We learned that the Most High has those two conditions, that you shemoah, meaning the tishma'u, meaning you listen to what I'm saying and obey, and you guard, because listening is obeying. Okay, we could say we heard what you said, but not hearing and not doing is not shema. Shema is not just to listen. Shema is to actually obey. Obey what just came out of my mouth, my voice, my breath of me. Yah says, if you listen to my voice and you guard my covenant, then you'll be this to me. You'll be a separate possession from all peoples, and I won't have this relationship with nobody else except for you. Okay, so that's what he wants us to do. He wants us to listen to his voice. That's the condition. And guess what? It doesn't matter what he said. No matter what he says, you and I are supposed to listen and obey. No matter how many commands there are, you and I are supposed to listen and obey. We're supposed to try to figure out what is it that he asks us to do and how to do it. And if you and I make mistakes, Yah makes provision for that. He said, okay, well, you didn't know, it was by mistake, it was inadvertent, you didn't have it. Oh, you can't do this because you're not in the land, but guess what? You have a desire to do it, so you did it. Oh, you're keeping the Sabbath? Wonderful. Why? Well, a lot of people don't want to keep it. Why? Because they don't have an offering. Well, of course, you know that when you kept the Sabbath before you did any offerings. So the Sabbath can be kept. It can be kept, okay? And it can be honored, all right? And you honor it by not putting your hand to any type of work. And he's going to get into that. He also told us that you and I alone belong to him, and that's it. We're being sanctified. And it was a very scary experience for the children of Israel, as you're going to know, as you're going to see. Okay. So, and this idea of going in there and receiving this is not without cost. It's not without a cost. So the Most High is letting us know, like, okay, this is what your experiences were when I brought you out, right? And I'm telling you, I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm bringing you out again. Me and you will have a conversation. Okay. And it's Moshe that's telling you what I'm telling you. Moshe is still actively telling you what I told him today. You're still reading Moshe's words. There's no other words that you need to be listening to except for what he said, because he's the one who brought us into this agreement. And he said that you and I might believe in Moshe for how long?
Forever.
Forever. And forever means you can't, it's for a time you don't even know, like you can't even put a time on it. So it's not even stuck. It's in a distant future where you can't point your finger and say, oh, until JC comes. That's when I'll stop believing Moshe. You see, he said forever. Okay. So that's part of the terms. Listen, that's part of the terms. You don't think that he told those people that the Most High told me that he's coming this way so you guys would believe that he sent me. You don't think he ever shared that? He had to share that information. And I'm going to tell you, the next Torah portion, if I'm not mistaken, it might be this one. He does say the reason why he's come this way is so that you might believe in him and that you might fear him and that you may not sin against him. So they're laying it all out. Okay. So it wasn't like they went in this blindly. Okay. So two things. Shema, which is Shema, and Shamar. Those are the two elements that you and I need to understand. And we are supposed to guard this covenant, which we're going to talk about on Shabbat if Yahweh's willing. Any questions?